Today, guys, we are going unplugged. We are taking our fifth wheel 50 amp RV and unplugging it from shore power and seeing if we can survive off of just solar and batteries alone. I know a lot of you guys have been following our solar build and are curious to see how it's doing. Today we'll find out exactly what's going on with it. And if you're new to the channel and interested in solar and living off grid, you may want to stick around, check it out. Welcome back to the Salty Trips channel. I'm Chris, and we're all about full-time RV life, trucks, travel, towing, all that jazz. Hopefully you'll find this useful, and we do a lot of stuff with solar and off-grid living for our fifth wheel RV, and we built a huge system to hopefully get us through this next few days of seeing if we can live off-grid without any power, shore power. But here's the thing. If you guys have been following along or you knew, I'm just going to do a little recap of what's going on. We live full-time in our fifth wheel RV. We are having a little staycation here for the next at least 4 or 5 days. At our usual full-time RV spot, we get shade early in the morning and sometimes shade throughout the day and shade in the afternoon. So we can't really test out our solar system to its potential because it's just too much shade at different times of day. So we can't actually find out exactly how much we're going to be able to get from a full sun day. And here at this spot, we have almost no shade until the very evening of the day. So we can get full sun from almost sunrise to sunset. We're going to keep track of that, show you guys exactly how much we're getting, how much kind of power we're using, because we're not pulling any punches here. We have everything on that we would normally have. Both air conditioners are on. They're not running all the time. They're just on so they can kick on whenever they need to. We use our microwaves, coffee maker, ice machine, refrigerator, everything that uses power normally, our TV, internet, all that stuff. We are not unplugging anything else. Everything's just going to stay running like we would normally do, except we're just not going to pull any power from shore. It's all going to come from the sun, soak it into the batteries. Those should get us through the night, and then until the next day, till it can recharge. And hopefully it'll do it, because like I'll probably do some laundry today. We have a washer dryer combo in here, and the dryer takes up a lot of power. So we'll see if the solar can keep up with it. And we're going to go over exactly what we have in this system, and then we'll just keep checking in and let you know how we're doing throughout these next few days. To understand a little bit more about what's going on, we're going to have to go show you what's going to be running this thing. What is this mess? What we have here is two multi+2 24 volt 3000 VA Victron inverters, and run in parallel. And we have a video about how to install those in parallel and everything. So if you want to go back and check that out, we have a playlist on our channel playlist. What these things do is give me up to 4,800 watts of running power. What is that? That's like about 2 air conditioners running, a microwave, and TV, internet, and the fridge. That's probably about 4,800 watts. And it'll run that all day long. But it can possibly go up to 6,000 watts. That's what the 3000 VA means, and that's 3,000 each, so that's 6,000 total, which is about 50 amps. But it can only run 4,800 watts consistently on a regular basis, and that's a lot of power, so it run down the batteries pretty fast. But we don't hardly ever use that much at any one given time. Every once in a while, both air conditioners will kick on, and that'll use about 3,000 watts. You know, if we have a hair dryer or a microwave or something going on, it'll get up there to 4,800 watts kind of quick if we have a lot of the big heavy duty power sucking devices going. But that usually doesn't happen very often. So what we have here is our link shunt, and this is what tells our system how much energy is going in and out of our batteries. This is our link distributor that sends power to and from all the other devices. And we have 2 different solar arrays up top on the roof. We have 3,220 watts of solar panels on the roof. We have 10 250 watt rich solar panels, and that's a two series of 5 in parallel. 5 solar panels run in series on the left side, and 5 solar panels on the right side run in series, and then those are parallel together to come back to this 150 100 solar charge controller. And that's our big array. That's 2,500 watts of solar. And then we added an extra 720 watts of solar, 180 watt panels, and those are run in 2 in the front are run in series, and then 2 in the back are run in series, and those are parallel together, and those run through our 150/35 charge controller. Then we have 4 24 volt 200 amp hour batteries. That's 800 amp hours of 24 volt, which is 1600 amp hours of 12 volt. So it's the same amount of power, which is about 20,000 watt hours or 20 kilowatt hours of power, just a little over that. And in the middle of summer, when we have both ACs cranking like for 5 or 6 hours a day nonstop, and here in Florida, we can use 30 to 35 kilowatts a day. We're not in summer anymore, so the weather's a little bit cooler. The air conditioning still do kick on quite a bit, which will determine how much power we're going to use each day. All right, so that's what's going to power our systems there. What we're dealing with here is usually in the summertime, the sun would be coming directly over us and across. We're facing basically east to west right here. And right now, the sun is sitting a lot lower in the sky because it's getting closer to winter time, which means, and the sun's lower in the sky, so we're not going to get 100% of these 3,220 watts. We're going to see exactly how much we'll get over time and share with you guys. So it'll probably help you get an idea. You want a similar system and be able to run everything that you can be like you were hooked up to shore power. You'll know if you need more solar or if you don't need this much, and it'll hopefully help you guys out. Like right now inside, guys, we have one air conditioning going. We have the ice machine making ice, and we're using 1200 watts. And we're only pulling them out 300-400 watts right now because it's pretty cloudy out there, as you guys saw. So we're going to keep track of stuff, let you know how it goes. We were pulling about 800 watts just not too long ago, but some clouds come by and it dramatically drops it. We'll see how this goes. All right, it's only been a few minutes. I just had to change, and I got to do some projects around here. But in just those few minutes, the sun came out, and we're already pulling in 1,100, almost 1,200 watts. About 5 o'clock this morning, I turned off the shore power, and we were at 99%. So we've lost 10%, and since about 5 o'clock this morning, and it is 10 o'clock a.m. right now. So we're going to keep track of how much power we're using and how much we're pulling back in. See, we're back down to 900 watts, but we're only using about 250 watts right now. So we're a net gain at the moment, but you can see it's dropping and raising just depending as those clouds go by. But hopefully we'll pull in more than we're going to use, and we'll be able to go the next 4 days without plugging into shore power, and we'll be able to continue to use everything like we usually would. All right, so I'm running around doing some errands, and I just checked the Victron VMR portal, and we are pulling in about 1,800 watts. It's almost noon, and we gained almost 2% battery back. Hopefully we'll get some more because I'm going to do laundry later, and it's going to use some juice. But 1,800 watts is about 60% of max capacity. Usually gets better about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon when the sun's a little farther that way because of the roof's tilted. That's not doing too bad. We'll keep you updated. All right, so about 1:30, we were running about 2,300 watts coming in from the solar. We almost got up to about 93% of battery capacity. Then I came home and we ran the dryer. 2 ACs kicked on for a little while. It's 3 o'clock now, and we're back down to just under 90%. And we're only pulling in about 1,700 watts of solar at the moment. We're kind of making even Steven today. We've been using a decent amount of power, but we'll go over those numbers later. Okay, guys, we are on day 2 of the Unplugged Challenge. And last night when we went to bed, I checked and we were at 84% on our battery. And then when I got this morning, it was at 64%. So we lost about 21% over a 12-hour period throughout the night. I'm gonna put up what we did yesterday. We used 13 kilowatt hours total power yesterday, and we brought in 10.8 kilowatts. So we're about a 3 kilowatt deficit yesterday. That was from midnight to midnight yesterday. Plus, you see that 1.1 kilowatts that we pulled in from shore power. That was right before I shut off the power at the pedestal. It's supposed to be kind of cloudy today, so I had to bring in some reinforcements. So I'll show you what we got. All right, what we have here today is I have 2 of these deployable all-power 200 watt panels, and I got to run into my bay over here to our all-power power station, and we have a 24 volt charger that we installed right before the hurricanes that I haven't plugged into. So it's a little bit inefficient, but that's because we're going from DC to AC power, you know, with the inverter. to the charger, which goes back to DC power. So we get a little bit of loss there. I have it set. You can change the settings in that smart charger from Victron that I installed, and I only have a little over 200 watts going into here. So that will help alleviate some of that throughout the day, hopefully. But that's our all power station. And at first we only had 200 watts, but I bought another one and got 200 more watts for deployable. So we'll see how that helps out through the day. And I do plan on putting another Victron MPPT charge controller, solar charge controller, for these two deployable ones, but I haven't got it yet. So eventually I want to put one more in there just so I can hook directly to the batteries, not have that loss from going DC AC to DC again. All right guys, here's an update. It's about 3 o'clock right now, but when we left about, I don't know, 10 o'clock this morning, the batteries were about 58%. They got down pretty low, but that's when, you know, the sun starts cooking up. As you saw in the diagram that I showed you earlier, sun doesn't really start picking up till like 11 o'clock, and it starts dying off around 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock. It's been super cloudy today. The sun's actually just now finally coming out. Most of the day, we were only getting maybe 500 to 900 watts an hour, and then we're eating lunch. I checked in on it, and I saw it bump up to 2700 watts. You could tell a cloud was coming by because it just dropped right back down. There's another thing. Our reinforcements had a little hiccup. I noticed on our online portal that I wasn't getting a charge off the DC load anymore, which that would account for the panels that I set up outside. What I thought happened is the panels blew over, so they weren't collecting solar anymore, so it ran the battery bank down till it was empty. I just flipped them back over and laid them flat now. Sun's finally out. They're pulling about 230 watts right now. As you can see on there, it's about 2% battery in the battery bank. So we're putting some juice back in the bank. It would have been nice to have that extra all day long, but it was just a little too windy and it flopped over. Crap happens. We're only at like 61% right now. So we've just been barely holding ground because there's just not much sun today. And that's why I kind of tell people solar doesn't run anything, your batteries do. And solar just is there to replenish the batteries, because a cloud comes by, everything shuts down. It's just not enough to keep things running. So the only thing that you can really count on is your batteries. That's why you always want to have a good battery system in place. So when the sun's not there and the clouds are, or whatever, you're still running things, and you can't rely on that to run your systems. And I know people argue with me about that in a previous video, but it is what it is. All right, we'll check back in a little bit. All right, guys, so here we are on day 3 of the Unplugged Challenge, and I got some bad news. Well, last night, right before we went to bed, I think we were about 33% battery left. And the night before, we used like about 20% of battery through the night. This morning, when I got up about 6 a.m., we were down to about 11% battery. I broke down and went outside and flipped the switch back on and turned power back on. Like I said from the very beginning of this thing, I wasn't going to pull any punches or, you know, hold back at all. We were going to just run our rig like we were hooked up to 50 amp power. And we ran washing machines both days. And after she ran the washing machine yesterday, she ran it through a cleaning cycle, so it cleans itself, so that was even more power. And we ran both ACs at 73 degrees the whole time, even though like outside, it's during the day, it's been low 80s, and in the evenings and night, it's probably been mid to low 70s. So they've still been running quite a bit. The total power usage yesterday was 15 kilowatts, and I think we only pulled in 7.6 kilowatts of power. It was just a lot of shade yesterday, and our auxiliary that we had laid out on the ground wound up, you know, flopping over. And so I didn't get any solar from that because we were gone most of the day. We went out to lunch and ran some errands and stuff like that. So like once it flopped over, it just stopped producing power. And there's a lot of other things that we probably could have done to conserve power, but I did not want to do that with this challenge. I wanted to push it to the limits and see what we could do. So we can run 2 solid days with decent sun. With full sun, we might have made it maybe 3 or 4. Who knows? Might do this again. If you guys like this kind of stuff, you know, and it's helpful information for you guys when you're just making your decision on how much solar and inverters and batteries and stuff that you want, you know, make sure you hit that subscribe button, notification bell, all that fancy jazz. And remember, we have 4 24 volt 200 amp hour batteries. That's the equivalent of 16 12 volt 100 amp hour batteries. So if you're thinking about trying to run a rig like this off grid where you can run everything, you need a lot of juice. hopefully this was helpful, guys. Thanks for coming along. You know, subscribe, notification bell, all that fancy jazz. Give this video a big thumbs up. Shows us you appreciate the content, because we appreciate you guys. Hopefully we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.